WTF, we're doing a podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Michelle. This is 50. Welcome to What the 50. Join us on our continued journey to simplify our lives.
We will seek the answers from the experts and offer tips, tools, and techniques to live your life with confidence and joy. Are we ready?
Let's go.
Here we are. Merry
It's Christmas. Yay.
We are
Looking festive, feeling festive. I think we should have our hats on though. What happened to our hats this year, Nikki?
I don't know.
Come on.
Oh,
So our episode is perfect for today.
we're
going to
talking
talk
about celebrations.
Yes.
I have to tell you though, I've been feeling a little bit, I don't know if it's a burnt out about Christmas. I don't know if it's like all these presents and the commercialism,
Can I
even
tell you?
decorating for, it's like, just like, I feel like it's just a waste of money.
Can I tell you what's happening with me though? I thought I had it all together. And then all of a sudden, I just felt so overwhelmed. I'm like, it's December. But I am not going to get caught up in the commercialism. It's so easy to, right? Because it's in your face. Every day you turn the TV on, listen to the radio. But I'm really going to try not to get caught up in it. I didn't buy any decorations this year. I'm using what I had before. I did buy a garland.
Yes, I mean,
I did buy a garland. But I really consciously didn't go crazy. You know, I just shifted around decorations where I had it last year, a different spot this year. It's so easy to get caught up. I just decided I'm not doing it this year.
And all of-
I'm just tired.
And honestly, all that stuff gets caught up in the landfill.
Yes, not only
Yeah.
that, as you know, we moved, right? And when I see the boxes and boxes of decorations that I have, I'm like, no, I don't need anymore.
Right. You just to kind of recycle them, right?
Yes,
And
just,
donate.
and just shift them, and I donate quite a bit. And just to shift around, you know, and it just looks very different in a new spot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
I'm celebrating that.
yeah. So I'm telling you about the landfill and whatever. But as you know, this year we're traveling soon after Christmas, and I just couldn't leave my decorations up because I kind of have to. Our decorations, as you know, is like I bought them as we traveled every year, some for the boys and whatever. So I kind of have to put them away. I can't leave it for anybody else to. I have to take it out. I have to put it away. So this year I did buy just balls. So
So anybody can put that away, but that's
Yeah.
that makes sense though.
yeah, and then I made some cinnamon sticks and some
We're supposed to
Like
put that
orange.
together.
when you have time.
I know.
Yes.
But I actually have the one you gave me last year in the
Oh.
bottle. I'm waiting to. No, I'm
It's
gonna
a simmer, and that was from last year.
No. I'm gonna be Christmas morning.
Oh, okay.
Right, I'm gonna be Christmas morning.
Okay.
But we're gonna talk about celebrations today, and I mean every day we celebrate, right?
Right.
But there are some celebrations that are a little more special than others, some that we put a little more energy into, and we're gonna talk about that today. And there are various ways of celebrating.
Right.
You know, there are little ways, there are big ways.
I know. I think that during COVID, it was Michelle and I had decided that, you know what, we're going to make, I think it was probably more manageable because it was just like only the four of us
And
in
we
our
had more
four
time.
families. And we had time. We were going to make the birthdays like a little, like we weren't going out for dinner. So we were going to make them a production
At home, right? And we did just that, and it
We
was
did.
actually fun.
Yeah.
You printed the menus, which I
Right.
started doing as well, and I have tons of photos of creating that tablescape
Right.
and that experience at home, which was great. And I think we've just continued doing that.
And then knowing that we can do it for ourselves too.
Yeah.
Because gone are the days where we're waiting for Chris or Trevor or the boys to come up with something for our birthdays.
We just do it.
We just say, okay,
Last year I
this
did
is
it.
what we want.
Exactly. Last year
Mhm.
I created my experience at home.
I know.
You know, it was fun. But as a family, growing up, we always celebrated. My mother had set that tone. Mommy celebrated every little thing. Valentine's, getting a chocolate on my bed before going to school. Birthdays were a big deal in my house. And I've grown up with that, and I've taught the boys unconsciously to do the same, and they celebrate everything.
That's nice.
And it's not necessarily in a big way, right? But they find ways. I'll never forget, Chris and I had traveled and we came back and it was Valentine's Day. And JP greeted us at the door in one of Chris's jackets, just probably like 9.
Oh,
And he greeted us at the door in one of Chris's jackets, and he had set the table and he had
cute.
flower petals on the table. It was really nice. And so, so the boys have seen that and they do it and they expect it.
That's
So we create, things are a little bit different now. As I get older, things
Right.
change. But certainly our dinners, I try to do a production, simple production on a Sunday. So I try to set the table. I don't do much of it now, I have to admit. But there were times when a Sunday dinner was a production for
Right.
us,
But you done that consciously
Mhm.
to take that stress off of you. Right. So
Yeah,
it's not tough. And you do it once a month.
I still do it, but not
Not to
before.
the
It was every Sunday.
Right,
It was
but
a
that's how-
big spread.
Yeah, yeah.
You
You
know.
had to roast your chicken.
I still roast chicken. My friend Natalie says, I'm not inviting you to the beach because I know you have to roast a chicken on a Sunday. I have to roast my chicken on a Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah, but establishing those traditions and those are what sets the foundations for the family. As you
Mhm.
know, in my family, we have a big family, but it really came down from my grandfather. Now, I was just born just after he died and my grandmother. So I really didn't have that with them, but it was something that my family kept going because we all lived in the same area.
Right.
They all celebrated their birthdays together. Even it's just the cutting of the cake.
Mhm.
And Christmas was a big thing. And then of course, Chinese New Year was a big thing. Like, it would span the 3 houses going down, serve food here, tables there, But so that are strong foundations that are built for celebrations. And people always say to my family, oh, you guys are so lucky, you have a family to do this. But having a family and actually creating the moments are 2 different things.
You
And
have to be intentional about
right,
it. Yes.
again,
Yeah.
like our last episode.
Mhm.
And I thank our grandparents for maybe being intentional, because above all, being together as a family
Yes.
was important.
Right.
So that comes to my next thing is that our family had gotten so big that no one could invite everybody to weddings, which is when we would all see each other. And then we were only seeing each other at funerals. And I said, this is ridiculous. So that's when we started doing the family reunion.
Do you know I've never been to a family reunion? We've never had one, no.
Oh
My family story, it's kind of
Yes.
twisted and long, but we've actually not done a
You
family
have to, you
reunion.
have
But
to.
when I was growing up though, we had some sort of a reunion, but definitely a tradition. My dad's birthday was the 2nd of January.
Yes.
So every New Year's Day was a big thing, a big party at my parents' house, and everybody in the family knew that New Year's Day was at Aunt Dottie and Uncle Peter's house.
Oh,
So we have so many photos. Huge.
I love that.
And it was a big deal. And those days, mommy would really get in the kitchen. It was a huge thing. And I really miss those days.
Yeah.
Those family gatherings, because our family now is small, but we still do try to get together and have those celebrations. And like my brother Jason, he has 4 children, speaking of birthdays. And so it is a known thing that every birthday, no matter what day of the week, no matter what time, no matter whether it's a long or short celebration, we're going to cut cake on that day.
Yes.
So it's known.
That's good.
So we can set
I
our
love that.
calendars. Yes. So, for example, Tuesday was Jude's birthday. So we know we have to go up to his house and we're going to cut cake, And what I picked up along the way. So like Mr. Moody, who used to be Zacho's coach, God rest his soul, he celebrated. And he would always take great pride in talking about how he prepared for that birthday celebration and the meal he was going to prepare or prepared. So sometimes he'll tell me after. And I would just marvel at how much time he took, how much pride he took in creating that atmosphere, that setting for his family for that birthday.
Yeah.
And I took a lot from him, because I thought, this is really important. Just taking that time.
Yeah,
celebrate that person, because you just never know when you'll get that chance.
of course.
Mhm.
Similarly, my parents were very much an open house, open dinner table, and they celebrated everything like big New Year's Eve
Right.
parties, big Christmas dinners, everything. And I honestly wish I had the energy
It takes a lot.
to be able to do the same thing. And I think, oh,
But the question is though, how did your parents do it?
I don't know. Is
They
it,
did it.
is it because I don't know.
Is it that they made it more simple? So it wasn't
Maybe,
so
and
they,
maybe, yeah,
so
like,
which they just did, they just knew they had to cater to the whole family and they got it
and
done.
mommy would cook. I'm not,
Are we overthinking it?
yeah, maybe I'm not going to be getting in the kitchen and cooking.
That, the cooking was a whole thing
Yes.
from the night before.
My sisters and I would laugh because she would have her kerchief or whatever wrapped around her head cooking. But mommy's from the country, so she loved to cook and loved,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, maybe we're overthinking, maybe we're too, oh, it has to be this and has to be that
Maybe.
way.
Because they got it done with with a lot less than what we have.
Yeah,
No, in terms of health, in terms of, they just got it done.
I think mommy and daddy had lots of help, truthfully.
Well, maybe they did, yeah.
But-
yeah, actually, yes, because we had a caterer that
Yeah.
would come to the house back then, now that I think about
Yeah,
it. So she had help.
Yes, exactly. But I think, yeah, but
So what else, what do you do? I mean, things have changed over time, right? In terms of the boys getting older. Have you created new traditions?
well, so Christmas has kind of changed up, as you know, we've talked about this on the podcast, but our friend Philip does a pajama party every Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and we exchange like one present each.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that every Christmas night, and then Boxing Day is usually at our house.
Mm-hmm.
But Trevor and I were saying that, now that the boys are bigger, Christmas Eve, there's a gap there because it always used to be about Santa and this and going to mass, which we don't really do anymore. So we're saying, okay, what are we going to do this Christmas Eve to kind of establish a new tradition for
Mhm.
us? So we're
Mhm.
actively thinking about that.
Okay. Well, for us, we didn't do the Santa thing, but Christmas Eve, we would stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and we'd say our prayers. It's because the real meaning of Christmas,
Of
right?
course.
And then of course they'll run to the tree and they'll grab just maybe 2 gifts and then open them up and we'll sit around the living room and we just chat and laugh and thing and then we go to bed. I'm up early trying to do some sort of breakfast thing or preparing for dinner while the entire house would sleep until dinner time.
Right.
I actually found a video that I did last year. The house was a total mess when I got up in the morning because the papers everywhere
Of
and blah,
course,
blah, blah. But that's just all a part of it.
yes,
So
of course.
that has been our tradition for years. With the boys getting older now though, Christmas Eve, JP's gonna go to a party, most likely Zach is gonna go
I
to
was
a
gonna
party.
say, you
So
think
Chris and I are
Zach
going to
will
look at each other and probably listen to some crickets, but it changes over time and we just have to kind of work with it because
Yes.
it is what it is, right? I don't know what we're going to do this year for
Right.
Christmas Eve, but certainly Christmas, I will be cooking, looking forward to that. And JP's friends sometimes will just drop in.
Nice.
Zach's friends will drop in and there's always enough food and mommy will come, of course. She's already looking forward to that. And it's really just about staying at home. We're always at home
Right.
Christmas Day.
Right.
And then for New Year's Eve, we used to go to church. We used to go to Solifield Chapel every year. And then we'd go to TGI Fridays.
Oh, that was a tradition.
That was a tradition. So we dress up in our hats and we'll have our noisemakers and so on. And then TGI wasn't doing anything after a while. And then the time at church changed and that routine changed.
Right.
We actually had friends that used to come with us. My friend Casey and her daughter Amanda, they would come with us every year. Then we go back to our house. That has changed. We need to establish a new
Right,
tradition
right.
now. So we're going to do that for this year. So I'm not sure yet what
Yes.
we're going to do, but certainly we have to find that.
Same with us too, is that we would always go to a hotel or out for New Year's Eve. That
Mhm.
would be where we would go. But now then the boys didn't want to come with us because of course they wanted to go out with their friends.
Right.
So we
right.
have to establish a new one.
Yeah.
And Christmas morning, Trevor, in my family, mommy would always make eggnog.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would open our presents, and Trevor's is now the only person in our family who knows how to make mommy's eggnog.
Your mother's eggnog. I
Exactly.
love it.
So, but nobody else drinks it except for me and my sisters. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We were talking about going out for maybe a big Christmas lunch somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're trying to figure this all out.
But this year, as I mentioned to you, I actually want to do real Jamaican hot chocolate.
Yes.
Is it gonna happen?
But Michelle,
I don't know.
there is, and Trevor found one to
Tell me.
the sticks. There are these sticks of hot chocolate. You don't have to grate it, and
Okay.
all the cinnamon and bay leaf and everything is
Is
all in it.
Oh,
So you
perfect.
just pour it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to do cakes this year. Zachary, do not comment, okay? So I had planned to do cakes 2 years ago because the boys have never had that
Have you been soaking
aroma.
your feet, your
My
fruit?
feet, no,
Your
my fruit. But mom's nurse bakes.
Okay, so she's
So
gonna.
she's going to come to the house with mom.
Oh, I love
So we're
that.
going to do a whole production of baking.
I hope-
We may end up with 2 cakes, right? But it's going to be
okay.
a whole production because I actually grew up with that.
Mm.
Mommy and her cousin would bake and I'd stir and blah blah blah. But that recipe was never written down.
Oh, so write it down now if you
So I'm
can.
going to write it down and we're going to actually do it together. The boys are going to be a part of it, crossing fingers. But I actually soaked fruits 2 years ago and
So you
nothing.
still have them?
No, I gave it away. And nothing
Yeah.
came of it. But this year it's gonna happen.
Well, I usually make Trevor's cake.
I know, right?
won't-
Are you doing it this year?
No.
Oh,
Yes, I'm not doing it this year, but next year we'll get back to it.
right.
Right. But it's a different, not the Jamaican cake, right?
Right, I've had it.
Okay,
You,
yeah.
you gave me some.
But we want to move beyond just Christmas
Mhm.
because celebrations is more than,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So what else we celebrating?
Well, so for birthdays, we have some sort of a tradition. Luckily for Zach, he's always most times he's away for his birthday. So he usually celebrates his birthday in a different country.
Oh, look at
So
him.
yes, so we have always tried to make
A trip.
a trip of it and also just really make a nice, because he's not at home with his friends and stuff. Well, last year he happened to be home, but usually he's away. So we create that, away from home. And we also, every now and again, we've done a trip to celebrate a birthday. So, for example, 1 year, Chris took JP on a surprise trip.
Oh.
And it was his birthday, and he didn't know what was happening until he got there. It was a Drake concert for his birthday. I traveled with the boys and Chris for my 50th to New York, which was a dream I had, which was amazing. So we really haven't done a lot of traveling for birthdays, but we have.
Yeah.
And it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We haven't really traveled for birthdays, but for celebrations, what I love to travel for are the weddings.
that we have done.
I will advocate for a destination wedding.
But you've
Yeah.
gone like so many countries though, for different countries. for
Right,
weddings.
so out of Jamaica or Canada, we have been to Mexico
Mhm.
and we've been to Poland and we've been to Spain for weddings. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
I
there,
thought it was more than that, but I mean,
No,
that's just
yeah.
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
And just different areas.
And what was good is that in all of those weddings, it was Spanish people,
Mm.
it was Polish people. Well, my nephew married a Polish, my niece married somebody Spanish,
Mhm.
and my other nephew had married somebody from Mexico. So it was really, it wasn't just at a resort, it was like authentic.
Culture, and you got the
Right.
cultural
Yeah,
experience. Yeah, that's
Like in
cool.
Poland, it's all about drinking the vodka. So you drink vodka like all night.
How
long.
did you manage?
I don't even know. I
You
think,
don't remember. You
and
can't.
it starts from like 12 o'clock and you're supposed to go into the morning. I think we tapped out around 4. But yeah, and it's all about the vodka.
Mhm.
But then also it's about celebrating friendships as well. Like,
Yes, but I remember Kalon did that 1 year. He did his Friendsgiving,
yes,
which I
yes,
thought was super cool.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was nice.
Yeah, because, well, I was very intentional in the IB time,
Mhm.
having Kaylin come with his friends and celebrate like Christmas and Friendsgiving and
Mhm.
other events. And they did something for Valentine's Day. They did something.
And you know
for
what? I
Halloween.
think that's excellent because you said you were intentional about it.
Yes.
Because IB, they have to really work together as a group.
Mhm.
And I saw how they were at Kaylan's last party.
Yes,
They're clearly so close. And that's because you were intentional about creating that bond with them.
right, right.
And I'm sure they'll continue to celebrate each
Yeah,
other.
I already said, okay, what are you guys doing when you all come
I
home
love
from
it.
college?
Absolutely love it.
And it's so funny because we went out with a couple of their friends that were late departures,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about Kaylin and it's so odd to see Kaylin with a new friend group, because their pictures, because
Right.
there used to be. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss them all. But anyhow,
Christmas, they're going to be here for Christmas,
I
right?
know.
So you'll see them.
yeah, and the
Yeah,
friends,
and
not
the
just
friends,
my
yeah.
sons, but you
No,
miss
I mean the
having
friends.
them.
Yeah. Their friends will be here too.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
I love that. Very nice. I'm looking forward to the noise in the house, because once JP gets here and
All of his
Zach
friends
they're
come.
both boys, they're always ready for a party. So I'm sure there's some sort of
Party underway.
domino party, some sort of Ludo party. There's
I love
something that's gonna happen at the house, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that could be a good deal. Did you get the personalized Ludo boards for them?
No.
Okay. Weren't you talking about that for Christmas?
But I actually got boards. I brought a board for him in
Mm.
LA because he can't be without his board. But I actually brought a board up, but no, I haven't gotten the person but there's someone here that does really, really
Yes,
nice
several
boards.
people do it.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Now that's a nice
that's a
present.
thought. Yeah, that's a thought.
Next
That's a
year.
thought. Mhm.
Let's remember about it because we think, okay, we're gonna give presents like this next year,
And
and then
that's
we
always
forget.
had it. Yeah, every time I remember.
Yeah.
But one of the things I like about celebrations though is a cultural exchange. Just to go back to going to those weddings overseas, because we have friends who are that celebrate Diwali, for example, and that was really, really, did I pronounce it correctly, by the way? Diwali. Some
Yes.
say Diwali, some say Diwali. Anyway, we had neighbors who did our entire complex was transformed a couple years ago, and that celebration was absolutely
I love that.
beautiful.
Yes.
We were dressed up in saris, and some guys had on traditional garb, and the food was amazing. But all of us just became a part of it,
Yeah.
and that's so memorable. So in celebrating, it doesn't have to be just among ourselves, but when we expose our children to other cultures, it opens up their mind and their whole world.
Of
'Cause,
course.
I mean, we can't travel to India to do this, but we can do it right
Of
here,
course.
you know?
I remember when I was living in Canada, Max had a friend, or we had a friend in one of the play groups.
Mhm.
And at the end of Ramadan, they have a big feast, and I think it's called Eid. And so they invited us,
Mhm.
and so that was like a big thing to see because it was something that I was never exposed to before. But yeah, I love that the cultures. I went to a couple of Diwali parties this year,
Yeah.
and this is why mommy and daddy and my cousins would always have big Chinese New Year things too.
Mhm. Yeah. I think too that our boys being at Hillel has been great in terms of the exposure, because we tend to really create that intercultural
Yeah, it
exchange.
is. Hillel is really
Yeah,
good for
they're really
doing
good
that.
at that. Yeah. And we celebrate a lot there. We find so many different holidays, Chinese New Year, we do Diwali, we do so many different.
Hanukkah.
Right, Hanukkah is coming up. So there's so many celebrations that, I mean, I would not have been a part of had it not been for school,
Yes, yes.
so I'm grateful for that. Thanks, Hillel.
Yeah, and what about celebrating friendships with like, I know for like, that's a big thing that's important to Trevor with his medical school people,
Mhm.
Trying to get them to do a trip or trying to meet up with them. So that's an important part that we need to always continue because, you get kind of
Life happens.
right.
Yeah. Well, one year my girlfriends, we did a trip. They came to Jamaica for it was her birthday, it was Mary's birthday. And Susie, Mary, and Karen came. They traveled together all the time, and they came out in mid-October. And my birthday is the 19th of October, which would have been the following week. And they're like, we're going to DC next week. Why don't you come? It's your birthday. I'm like, what? That's like a couple of days. I was like, you know what? What the hell?
And
Why
you
not?
did it.
And I did it. And they had a whole thing for me, and it was just really special.
Oh,
I didn't even have time to think it through. Am I going to do this? I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. I just made it work.
right.
And that was one of those impromptu trips. I mean, you can't do that very often, right? But It's one of those impromptu trips that I really enjoyed.
And it's you always remember it, right?
always remember it.
Exactly.
And you know what I remember most of all? Just that feeling of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it was just exciting. Just get up and do it. Because usually I think about, can I really do this? This is happening. That is. I just said, Chris, what do you think? He said, sure, go for it. I'm like, all right.
Oh, he was like, don't have to worry about their birthday this year.
And it really worked out nicely. So, you know, we just have to find those moments and make the most of them and celebrate. Doesn't have to be a big thing, doesn't have to be expensive, you know, we can just find. And, you know, I like to talk about my friend Andrina at this point because Andrina's going through, she has cancer. And Andrina has taught me just that, the importance of celebrating every single day. And, you know, this ring I got from her
Oh, beautiful
recently,
ring.
beautiful. And every time I look at it, I just think of Andrina's smile and her warmth. And she's literally celebrating every day. She was in
Of
Jamaica
course.
last week. And it was just, I literally felt like holding her was that celebration
Right.
of here is my friend, you know? So again, I don't think we can say it enough, just how important it is to celebrate, recognize our friends and family, and create those moments.
Yeah, and just take the time because we kind of get caught up in, oh, I don't have any time, I
know.
don't whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. We don't have to have the fanciest things or whatever,
And
you
we
know?
don't have to have an extended time either.
Yeah,
Just make it happen.
right.
Just
Like
make-
honestly, if you make a birthday cake for somebody, even out of the box, and you bring it to that, you know how special that person feels because you
Absolutely.
took the time to
Yes,
make it.
yes.
I saw this thing on Facebook or something about this grandfather that he learned to bake after the grandmother died.
Mhm.
And every birthday or every celebration, he makes a cake and takes it for his grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
Now, how special is
Of
that?
course, grandpa baking a cake,
I
of
know.
course.
So, anyhow. And then sometimes we just have to think about what we're gonna do. So we're gonna do our vision board,
Yes,
because
moving forward.
that's gonna be our tradition, right?
That's our tradition, and that's going to be our episode next year.
Are we having an episode about it?
Yeah, of course, why not?
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's part of the tradition.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nikki didn't know we we're going to have an episode.
And then we're just gonna celebrate every moment or
Yes.
try to celebrate every moment because sometimes life gets in the way.
It does, because, you know, as I say, life happens and life is lifing and all those little sayings. But, you know, I think too, in our conversations, it helps us to remember just how important it is. And I feed off of you, you feed off of me, and we create those times and just, you
Yeah.
know, just be mindful about it.
And my birthday is coming up in January. And
What?
I know, I know, because my friend Marcia, she taught me that, yeah, if Marta had lived to be 50,
Yes.
she would have been so grateful. So I will never regret aging at all.
Absolutely not. Can I tell
Right?
you?
And we must celebrate it.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, and this lady, she was 49,
Mhm.
and she said that year was really horrible for her. She didn't own a house. She had worked in cosmetology for how many years? She didn't own her own business. She didn't have any children. She wasn't married. She didn't have a
Just the type of
significant
person I
other.
like to coach.
Well, let's reach out to her. So she said for her 50th, she didn't have a party. She was just literally down.
Right.
And between 49 and turning 50, she found a location to start her business, and she did. And she invited all her friends. She didn't tell them what it was. She didn't want anybody to discourage her or anything. She just wanted to do it. And when she invited them, she told them the address, and everybody turned up. It was actually the grand opening
I love
of
that.
her business and celebrating her 50th birthday. That was her milestone birthday. But she was so intentional about it during that year, because she said not another year was going to come and she was not going to feel fulfilled in where she was in her life.
I love that.
So
Absolutely.
she did what she had to do to make the change, and then she had everybody celebrate with her.
That's amazing.
So I mean, you know, we have to know what works for us, and just being, we can't stress being intentional enough, can
Yes.
we?
No, no,
We can't stress being
Definitely.
intentional. Yeah, we just
because otherwise the months, the days, the
it just
years,
goes right
just
by.
go by and
Already
it-
at the end of the year, Nikki. Oh,
I know,
we just had on Christmas hats,
I know,
taking photos.
I know.
It's the end of the year.
You know, remember, this is a silly thing, but remember Al Roker was really sick last year?
Yes.
Can you believe it's almost been a year since he
Not-
was in the hospital and
Not
stuff?
only that, when he said he was going to host the Macy's parade, and I said, but wasn't he just sick?
Yeah,
It's a year.
it's a year.
Because he wasn't able to do it last year.
Right.
So he was able to do it this year. A whole year has passed.
Yeah.
So, and it seems to go by really quickly when you get older, you think? When we were young, the year just took forever.
Yeah,
I think now we're older, it just seems to.
because everything is like planning. I don't know why it
I
goes
don't
by
know.
quicker.
But it does, trust me,
I
it
know.
does. But we just want to tell our listeners to just keep celebrating the big things, the little things, just, find things to celebrate about. And it ties in with our emphasis on gratitude.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you have something that you celebrate or a way that you celebrate anything, a birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, anything, please share with us.
Yeah,
because
we'd love to hear some
we are looking
traditions.
for developing some new traditions for ourselves,
Of course, of course.
especially with our adult children, right?
I'd like to just jump here and say that something that we did 2 years ago, we had actually gone to a hotel, which we've never done before, for New Year's. And JP had us write on paper that we have not looked at. We may look at it now. And we had to write, he gave us some questions. We had to answer those questions, put them in an envelope, and it was sealed. So I think that is a tradition that we're going to, continue, because I think it's really great to look back at what our thoughts were and how we achieved some of those. If we had any plans, have we achieved those goals, etc. So I think that's a tradition that we're probably going to maintain.
Right.
So
jumping
see.
off of that, I said, wow, Michelle, that was a great idea. And I think I want to start doing that with the kids. And I had listened to a podcast as a follow-up on, sometimes moving forward is a lot of fear.
Yes,
It's
yes.
based in a lot of fear that you're afraid of moving forward. And in this podcast, it says, okay, he suggested that you list 10 truths,
Mhm,
things that I am a woman, I have 2 children. They're absolute truths.
mhm,
And then you list 2 things that you would like to, 10 things that you'd like to accomplish in the year.
mhm.
And then you put those together and you realize that, okay, I can accomplish this but you must speak about them in the present tense. So if you say, I want to be a published author, you would say,
I am.
I am a published author.
Mhm.
And then you just list those and then we kind of put them aside and then
Yeah, that's good. And that's all about the intention. Creating- yeah.
exactly. And
Mhm.
creating that energy of accomplishing.
Of
it.
course. And then, when you write it down too, you hold yourself accountable because it's on
Exactly.
paper.
That's why I
You
didn't
know.
want to even talk out loud about my personal growth, but yeah.
Yeah, so this has been good. This is our final episode
You're right.
for the season. See, things is going so fast. We've
Yeah.
already completed an entire season.
Of course.
Can't wait for the next season though. We have big things.
Yes, because it's all about keeping us young, healthy, and vibrant
The blue zones. Oh, oops, sorry.
for the next
I revealed.
30 years
I
at least.
revealed.
For the next 30 years
Yeah.
at least. Although, Mish, if we go by your mom, who is
98.
rocking it at 98, we
98.
have a good long time
Yeah,
left, right?
yeah.
A whole lifetime,
We have a whole lifetime. Let's make the most of it.
for sure.
So Merry Christmas to all our listeners. Thanks for listening.
And
Thanks for
happy
staying with us for this
celebrations. Yep.
year. Yeah. Are we going to do a New Year's we could
A New Year's.
post.
Okay.
Maybe not an episode, but a post.
For sure.
So we won't do the we wish you Happy New Year just yet, but we're gonna certainly wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
To all our listeners and our viewers. Let's not forget our viewers on YouTube.
Of course.
So we'd love for you to like and share.
Please do.
Send us your traditions. Let us know what you're doing for Christmas.
So that we can follow suit.
so we can talk about it.
Yes, yes,
But it's
And
been
see-
great.
yes. for
It's
sure.
we've learned. I mean, as I said in the last episode, I kind of slowed down mid-year, but we picked up speed, and we're just gonna keep going.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, you had a lot on your plate, moving and
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like that.
It
So
never ends, right? But
yeah,
we just keep going.
for sure. Anyhow, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of What the 50. Please show your love and encouragement by sharing, subscribing, and leaving a review wherever you're listening.
And don't forget to like and follow us on Instagram. And please join our active Facebook group at what.the50.